Complete Insight Map. The 48 Laws of Power. Robert Greene, PhD. Master Your Emotions. Control the impression context. Greene opens by establishing that power is a game, whether you want to play or not. The first laws deal with managing how others perceive you and never letting your emotions betray your position. Insight 1:1. Never outshine the master. Trigger. Greene tells the story of Nicolas Fouquet, finance minister to Louis XIV, who threw a lavish party at his estate that surpassed anything the king had ever hosted. Within weeks, Fouquet was arrested and imprisoned for the rest of his life. Realization. Making those above you feel insecure is the fastest way to fall. People in power need to feel superior. Your job is to make them look brilliant, not to demonstrate that you're more talented than they are. Intermediate conclusion. Let your superiors take credit. Make your ideas appear to be theirs. The moment you outshine the master, you become a threat, and threats get eliminated. Make your masters appear more brilliant than they are, and you will attain the heights of power. Insight 1.2. Conceal your intentions. Trigger. Greene describes how Marquis de Sévigné seduced women not by revealing his desire, but by sending mixed signals, talking about one woman while pursuing another, keeping everyone guessing about his true target. Realization. If people can't figure out what you're after, they can't prepare a defense against you. Transparency is a social virtue, but a strategic weakness. The powerful keep others off balance by never revealing their next move. Intermediate conclusion. Use decoys and red herrings. Talk openly about desires you don't actually have. Guard your real goals until you've already achieved them. Insight 1.3. Always say less than necessary. Trigger. Greene recounts how Louis XIV controlled his entire court by speaking as little as possible. His silence made every word carry enormous weight and kept everyone anxious about his true thoughts. Realization. The more you say, the more ordinary you appear, and the more likely you are to say something foolish. Powerful people understand that silence creates an intimidating aura of mystery. Words are cheap, restraint is expensive. Intermediate conclusion. When you do speak, be vague and open-ended. Let others fill the silence with their own interpretations. They'll often reveal more than you ever would by talking. PHAs 2. Protect your reputation at all costs. Context. Greene argues that reputation is the cornerstone of power. Without it, you are vulnerable. With it, you can intimidate and win before any battle begins. Insight 2.1. Guard your reputation with your life. Trigger. Greene shows how Zhuge Liang, a military strategist during China's Three Kingdoms period, defended an empty city against an overwhelming army by simply sitting on the city wall playing a lute. His reputation for cunning was so strong that the enemy assumed a trap and retreated. Realization. Reputation is a form of power that operates in your absence. Once established, it does your work for you. People make assumptions, give you the benefit of the doubt, or fear you before you've done anything. But once destroyed, everything becomes an uphill battle. Intermediate conclusion. Actively build and protect your reputation. Attack your enemies' reputations when needed. Once damaged, they become vulnerable and distracted. Insight 2.2. Court attention at all costs. Trigger. Greene examines P.T. Barnum, who understood that controversy and even scandal generated attention. And attention was the raw material of power and profit. He deliberately courted outrage because being ignored was worse than being criticized. Realization. In the game of power, obscurity is death. It is better to be attacked and talked about than to be ignored. Attention, positive or negative, keeps you relevant, feared, or desired. The content of the attention matters less than its existence. Intermediate conclusion. Never allow yourself to fade into the background. Distinguish yourself from the crowd by any means. Controversy, mystery, unpredictability. The worst position is the one nobody notices. PHAs. 3. Leverage. Let others do the work context. Greene shifts to the strategic use of other people's effort, knowledge, and time. The mechanics of leverage as an instrument of power. Insight 3.1. Use other people's work. Trigger. Greene tells how Thomas Edison built his reputation as an inventor largely on the work of Nikola Tesla and dozens of other engineers in his lab. Edison understood that credit flows to the person who presents the result, not to the person who did the work. Realization. Using others' talents and knowledge to advance your cause is not lazy. It is efficient. The powerful person is the one who knows how to find, attract, and leverage the right people. Time is your most finite resource. Others' effort is how you multiply it. Intermediate conclusion. Find people with the skills and knowledge you need. Use their work, give them just enough credit to keep them motivated, and ensure the final result carries your name. What matters is the outcome and who is associated with it. Insight 3.2. Keep others dependent on you. Trigger. Greene describes how Otto von Bismarck made himself indispensable to the Prussian king by being the only person who could manage the complex web of alliances and rivalries holding the German states together. No one else understood the system, because Bismarck designed it that way. Realization. The ultimate form of leverage is not using others. It's making sure others cannot function without you. When your removal would cause chaos, no one dares remove you. Independence is power for you. Dependence is power over others. Intermediate conclusion. Make yourself the linchpin. Be the one who holds critical knowledge, relationships, or skills that others cannot easily replace. The more people need you, the more freedom and security you have. PHAs 4. Timing, patience, and strategic positioning context. Greene explores the power of controlling time and space, knowing when to wait, when to strike, when to disappear, and how to make others play on your terms. Insight 4.1. Make others come to you. Trigger. Greene describes how during wartime, commanders who chose the battlefield and forced the enemy to march toward them consistently won, exhausting their opponents before the fight even began. When you go to others, you surrender control. Realization. The person who acts first is often at a disadvantage. They reveal their position, exhaust their energy, and enter unfamiliar territory. The person who lures others into coming to them controls the environment, the timing, and the dynamic. Intermediate conclusion. Make others chase you. Create situations where they must come to your territory, operate on your timeline, and play by your rules. Patience and strategic bait are more powerful than aggressive pursuit. Insight 4.2. Learn the lesson of scarcity. Trigger. Greene describes how after Napoleon was exiled to Elba, his absence made France miss him more than his presence ever could. The Bourbons who replaced him were uninspiring, and within a year, Napoleon returned to a hero's welcome. Realization. The more you are seen and available, the more common you appear. Scarcity creates value. When you withdraw at the right moment, people begin to talk about you, respect you, and want you more. Intermediate conclusion. Once you've established a strong presence, know when to pull back. Create scarcity through strategic absence. The powerful don't hover. They appear, create impact, and disappear before they become furniture. Insight 4.3. Master the art of timing. Trigger. Greene examines how Joseph Fouché, the master survivor of the French Revolution, managed to serve every regime, the revolutionaries, Napoleon, and the Bourbons, by having an uncanny sense for when power was about to shift. He never committed too early or too late. Realization. The right action at the wrong time is the wrong action. Patience is not passivity. It is active observation, waiting for the moment when conditions align. Equally, when the moment arrives, hesitation is fatal. Intermediate conclusion. Develop a sense for the rhythm of events. Never rush into action when the time isn't right, but when the moment comes, strike without hesitation. Opportunity rarely knocks twice. PHAC 5. Crush your enemy. Totally context. Greene presents one of his most controversial principles, that half measures and conflict create more danger than decisive action. Insight 5.1. Never leave an enemy. Half alive, trigger. Greene recounts how the Chinese emperor Xiang Yu defeated an army but spared their leader out of mercy. That leader regrouped, returned, and destroyed Xiang Yu completely. Every historical example of mercy toward a dangerous opponent ends the same way. Realization. An enemy who is wounded but alive is far more dangerous than one who is completely defeated. Partial victories give your opponent motivation for revenge, time to recover, and a grudge that will fuel their return. Mercy in conflict is a luxury that produces future enemies. Intermediate conclusion. If you enter a conflict, finish it. Don't leave an opponent with the means or motivation to strike back. This applies to negotiations, business competition, and any situation where a rival could regroup. Insight 5.2. Know who you're dealing with. Trigger. Greene catalogs 5 types of dangerous people. The arrogant and proud who will spend years plotting revenge over a small slight. The hopelessly insecure whose reactions are unpredictable. The suspiciously mild who are calculating behind their pleasant facade. The serpent with a long memory. And the plain unintelligent who cannot understand subtlety and will drag you into chaos. Realization. Not everyone responds to power tactics the same way. What works on a rational opponent will backfire spectacularly on an irrational one. The biggest danger is assuming everyone thinks the way you do. Intermediate conclusion. Before applying any strategy, study your opponent thoroughly. The wrong tactic applied to the wrong person can destroy you faster than no tactic at all. PHAC 6. Control perception. Context. Greene argues that appearances matter more than reality. People judge by what they see, not what is true. The powerful control perception through trust, drama, and symbolism. Insight 6.1. Use selective honesty to disarm. Trigger. Greene describes how Count Victor Lustig sold the Eiffel Tower to a scrap metal dealer by first establishing trust through a series of small, genuine confessions. By the time the con was revealed, the victim was too embarrassed to report it. Realization. One sincere and honest gesture can cover dozens of dishonest ones. People are so hungry for honesty that a single act of apparent vulnerability lowers all their defenses. Selective honesty is the most effective deception because it exploits the human need to trust. Intermediate conclusion. When you need to influence, start with a gift, a genuine admission, or a moment of apparent weakness. Once trust is established, the target's guard drops completely. Insight 6.2. Create compelling spectacles. Trigger. Greene examines how leaders from Louis XIV to modern political figures understood that grand visual displays, architecture, parades, ceremonies, symbols, bypass rational thought and speak directly to emotion. The Sun King didn't argue for his power, he displayed it. Realization. Striking images and symbolic gestures overwhelm rational resistance. People process visuals and emotions faster than arguments. The person who controls the imagery controls the narrative. Intermediate conclusion. Don't waste time arguing. Show. Use bold actions, dramatic gestures, and powerful symbols. A single powerful image communicates more than 100 pages of logic. PHAC 7. Play on people's psychology context. Greene dives into the emotional levers of power. How to work with what people want, fear, and need in order to guide their behavior. Insight 7.1. Appeal to self-interest, never to mercy or gratitude. Trigger. Greene tells how when a general needed support from a reluctant ally, his advisors suggested reminding the ally of past favors. A wiser counselor said, "Forget the past. Show the ally what they stand to gain now." It worked immediately. Realization. When you need something from someone, don't remind them of what you've done for them. That triggers guilt and resentment, not cooperation. Instead, show them what's in it for them. People act out of self-interest, and the powerful make this work for them rather than fighting against it. Intermediate conclusion. Frame every request in terms of the other person's benefit. Find what they want and position yourself as the means to get it. Gratitude is unreliable. Self-interest is dependable. Insight 7.2. Discover. Each person's weakness. Trigger. Greene describes how Cardinal Richelieu controlled the French court by understanding that every person had an emotional vulnerability, insecurity, vanity, fear, and uncontrollable passion. He found each person's pressure point and used it to guide their behavior. Realization. Everyone has a weakness, a need, a fear, a secret desire. The person who discovers it gains enormous leverage. This is not about cruelty. It's about understanding that people are driven by emotional needs they often can't even articulate. Intermediate conclusion. Pay close attention to what people reveal in unguarded moments. Their complaints, their obsessions, their reactions to flattery. The key to influence lies in what people try hardest to hide. Insight 7.3. Play on people's need to believe. Trigger. Greene examines cult leaders and demagogues who built devoted followings not through logic but through offering people what they desperately wanted: a cause, a sense of belonging, a simple explanation for a complex world. Realization. People have an overwhelming need to believe in something: a leader, a movement, a purpose. The person who offers a compelling vision taps into one of the most powerful forces in human psychology. Logic rarely converts, belief always does. Intermediate conclusion. If you want followers, offer a cause. Keep your words vague and grand, your promises bold. Let people project their own hopes onto your message. The vaguer the vision, the more people can see themselves in it. PHAC. Be formless, adapt to everything context. Greene closes with his most strategic insight: that rigidity is death and adaptability is the ultimate form of power. Insight 8.1. Assume formlessness. Trigger. Greene uses water as the ultimate metaphor. It has no shape of its own, yet it can wear away stone, fill any container, and flow around any obstacle. The most dangerous armies in history were nomadic, no fixed base to attack, no predictable pattern to exploit. Realization. The moment you take a fixed position, a rigid strategy, a visible structure, a predictable pattern, you become a target. Formlessness means being adaptable, unpredictable, and fluid. Your opponents can't hit what they can't see or predict. Intermediate conclusion. Don't commit to a single strategy, identity, or position. Stay fluid. When circumstances change, change with them. The person who can adapt to anything cannot be destroyed by anything. By taking a shape, by having a visible plan, you open yourself to attack. Instead of taking a form for your enemy to grasp, keep yourself adaptable and on the move. Insight 8.2. In victory, learn when to stop. Trigger. Greene describes how many conquerors and leaders achieved their greatest goals only to push further and destroy everything they'd built. Napoleon's invasion of Russia, the overexpansion of countless empires. Success creates arrogance, and arrogance creates ruin. Realization. The intoxication of victory is one of the most dangerous forces in the game of power. The moment you achieve your goal, your judgment is at its weakest. You feel invincible, and you overextend. The wise player knows when to stop. Intermediate conclusion. Set your goal before you begin. When you reach it, stop. Don't let the momentum of success carry you past the point of safety. When impossible sax to social virtue, virtus pinches parentis, salus crantis te creatis to self-indispensable. When others depend on you, no one dares remove you. Appeal to self-interest. Gratitude is unreliable. One to French principles, management's respect. Abstention treases respect power. One to sellers work and talent. Leverage to print actel. One individual front, make yourself indispensable. When others de principers act, gratitude is unreliable. One people self-arsish de principrak, creates contingent act. A content, mange yourself actor crincherus act. A printer inchipra crincherus actor. Throckter interentering, the tactics change, the psychology does not. The amoral framework. Greene deliberately presents power as neither good nor evil, but as a tool. Understanding these laws protects you from those who use them against you. even if you choose not to employ them offensively. Defense through awareness. The most practical result of the book is not becoming a manipulator. It's recognizing manipulation when it's being used on you. Every law has a defensive application. Key lessons for application. 1. Never make people above you feel insecure. Make them look good, and they'll elevate you in return. 2. Guard your reputation obsessively. It works for you when you're not in the room. 3. Say less. Observe more. Silence is power. Every unnecessary word weakens your position. 4. Conceal your true goals. Let others see what you want them to see, not what's actually happening. 5. Use other people's strengths. Leverage is the key to scaling your power beyond your own abilities. 6. Control the field. Make others come to you. The person who chooses the battlefield wins. 7. Master timing and patience. Never act when the moment isn't right, but strike decisively when it is. 8. Appeal to what people want, not what they owe you. Self-interest is the most reliable motivator. 9. Study your opponents before engaging. The wrong tactic on the wrong person will destroy you. 10. Control perception through bold action. What people see matters more than what is true. 11. Know when to stop. The intoxication of success has destroyed more people than failure ever has. 12. Stay fluid and adaptable. The moment you become rigid and predictable, you become vulnerable.